Welcome back to day 2 of parent functions. So just to end up seeing what are some questions you think your classmates might have from yesterday's lesson. Just give you a moment to think about it. Now we're going to end up looking at our absolute value function to finish off with our 6 parent functions. So the absolute value function, remember absolute value is a distance from 0 and it is always positive. So if I end up putting values for x, remember we always want negative as well as positive values. Let me just center this real quick. So if I have the value of -3, the absolute value of -3, we just said it's always going to be a positive 3. So then if I put in value of -2, absolute value would be +2, -1, +1. Absolute value of 0 is just 0. We have 1, and then 2, and 3. So if it's already positive, it just stays positive. And then we just write them as an ordered pair. Remember, we end up using parentheses to identify that we have a coordinate. We don't use a parentheses, and it's just saying that, hey, you know what? I have -3 and 3. It's not a coordinate. So make sure you remember to end up putting just a parentheses around your ordered pair. So I'm just going to do a couple. I will let you finish up the rest. And now we're going to make our graph. So our graph is going to start at -3, +3. So we're going to go left on our x-axis, -3, and then up 3. That's our first point. And then -2, +2, -1, 1. Some of you might have seen this in the past. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 2. 3, 3. So you know that the next one would be 4, 4. So we're going to end up drawing our line. We have one of them going this way, the other one going the opposite direction. So one of the things that you can notice is that it goes in opposite directions. It's reflective over the y-axis. So here's your absolute value function. We're going to end up going to our next one, our next graph, which is our cubic function. And in our cubic function, we're going to take the cube of the number. So one thing different from this case is that we could have negatives in this case. Okay. So right here we could have a -3, and the cube of a -3, so you're doing -3 times -3, just so you can see -3 times -3 times -3. Your answer would be a negative. Okay. So right here we're going to have a -81. -27, I'm sorry. Because 3 times 3 is 9, times 3, 27. And that would be negative. I have -2. -2 times -2 is a +4 times another -2, it would be -8. A -1 times -1 is a +1 times another -1 is a -1. And then we have 0, that one's just 0. 1 cubed is just 1. 2 cubed would be 8. and then 3 cubed is 27. So now if we end up putting our ordered pair, in this case I'm going to do less, so like they just finish it off. And then I'm just going to make our graph. So we're making a graph. We have negative 3, negative 27. We're going to go to negative 2, and down negative 8. You notice negative 1 would be negative 1, 0, 0. So we have at origin 1, 1, and then 2, 8. And it kind of curves and it continues. I want to put a little bit right there, but so let's draw that curve again. Oops. And making sure it crosses it. Okay. So it's like a stretched out sideways. Okay. So that's our cubic function. Now the last one that we have is our cube root. And just how quadratic is related to, or squared is related to radical square root. Cube and cube root are also related. Okay. So we're going to do this next one. Perfect cubes. We are going to deal with perfect cubes. So perfect cube, in terms of my values, we're going to do the following. We're going to just center this. So if I end up using the cube root of negative 27, that would be negative 3. The cube root of negative 8, that would be negative 2. The cube root of negative 1 is negative 1. 0 would be 0. So you notice how the x and the y, they flip from the cubic function. 1 would be 1. Cube root of 8 would be 2. And the cube root of 27 is 3. Okay, so writing them as our exponents one more time. And we continue. So let's make our graph. Let's negative 8, negative 2, because negative 27 is not in our graph. So negative 8, go left, 8 up to negative 1, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hold on, we're going to redo that because we're going the wrong direction. Negative 8, negative 2, not positive 2. Negative 1, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2. So this one kind of makes out a stretched out S. Okay? Just a little bit difficult to draw on the graph. So these are our parent functions. So I just want you to think about what was challenging. Let me know if you have any questions. What was something that was easy about the lesson? What was interesting or challenging? And what is difficult in terms of the parent functions? Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to email in terms of parent functions. I do want to make sure that you have a graph for each of your parent functions. So you should have a total of 6 parent functions. Any questions, again, just email. Have a wonderful day.